Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into a company's recent strategic letter and their, frankly, pretty impressive quarterly numbers.
Yeah, impressive is right.
But we're not just here to read off the highlights. Our mission is to get underneath that, to understand how they're pulling off this balancing act of really fast growth and getting more profitable at the same time.
Right, it's like that elusive double helix of business, isn't it?
Mm.
And the letter itself gives us the clues. It points to two core things, these network effects of data and what they call their single most vital asset, trust.
Trust. Okay, we'll definitely unpack that.
And those two things, they argue, are what's driving the kind of FQ1 results we're about to look at.
Before the numbers, though, there's this internal quote they apparently use from the cyclist Greg LeMond. It doesn't get any easier, you just get faster.
I saw that. Classic grinder mentality.
But the CEO pushes back a bit, saying, well, for this kind of business, a network business, maybe some things should actually get easier as you scale up.
And that's the critical distinction, I think. Lemond's talking about, pure physical effort against gravity. It's always hard.
Right.
But a data network, every bit of learning from one transaction, every improvement to the model, it benefits all the transactions that come after it.
So the effort isn't linear, it compounds.
Exactly. The marginal cost of getting smarter, you could say, drops. It's a feedback loop, not just pushing a bigger gear. And that loop is what we need to trace in these results.
Okay, let's test that theory then. Fiscal Q1 26 results. So gross merchandise volume, GMV.
$10.8 billion, which is up 42% year over year.
Pretty strong. 42%, okay?
And revenue.
$933 million, up 34%. Also very solid growth.
But you mentioned profitability. The key metric there is revenue less transaction costs, RLTC.
Yes, and this is where you really see that compounding effect maybe starting to kick in. RLTC grew 60%.
Whoa, okay, so way faster than the revenue growth.
Yeah.
Precisely. 60% growth, landing at $455 million. That gap between 60% and 34%. That tells you the actual profit engine is accelerating faster than just the volume of business. They're keeping more of each dollar that comes through.
And that flows down, presumably,
Yeah.
net income.
Yep, positive net income, $181 million for the quarter. And you see that leverage play out in the operating metrics, too. Operating income as a percentage of revenue. It grew 26 percentage points.
26 points. It's a huge jump.
Huge, up to 7%. And the adjusted operating income margin went up 10 points to 28%. These are the signs that scale isn't just making them bigger, it's making them more efficient.
Okay, so the financial picture backs up the getting easier idea, potentially. What about the network itself? Consumers, merchants?
Well, look at the active consumers, 24.1 million, up 24%. But here's the really interesting part. That marks the 7th quarter in a row where the year-over-year growth rate accelerated.
7 quarters of acceleration? How does that even happen?
It suggests something powerful is pulling people in and keeping them engaged.
Yeah.
A network effect, perhaps?
And I guess merchants follow the consumers.
Seems like it. Active merchants up 30% to 419,000. And their growth rate also picked up steam compared to the last quarter by about 6 percentage points.
So both sides of the network are speeding up.
Yeah, and it wasn't just, the usual online stuff. They mentioned growth across almost everything. Services, travel, ticketing were strong. Fashion and beauty apparently had their best growth rate in 3 years.
Okay, so the momentum looks real and broad-based. Let's get back to that core engine idea. They're not just a payments pipe, you said. They call themselves something else?
A message router. That's the term they use. And it sounds kind of technical, but it's key to their whole strategy.
A message router. What does that actually mean in this context?
It means comparing what they do to traditional payments. Think about a standard credit card swipe. The message sent is pretty basic, right? It's data light, as they put it. Just confirms an account and an amount.
Okay. Needs approval, sends back yes, no.
Right. And because the message is so simple, the value you get from routing more of those messages kind of flattens out over time. You hit that lemon wall you mentioned. It doesn't get easier or smarter, just faster maybe.
Gotcha. So how is their message different?
Theirs is designed to be information rich. It carries not just the payment details, but context. Who's buying, what are they buying, maybe even why, based on past behavior and credit data.
Okay, so much more context travels with the transaction request?
Exactly. And routing that kind of rich data is what lets them improve their products constantly. It fuels the AI, improves risk modeling, personalizes offers. It creates this moat. The more data they route, the smarter they get, the better the service, which attracts more users, generating more data.
And that data pool is massive now, right? Something like 6 petabytes?
Yeah, 6 petabytes, built from around 6 billion decisions over 15 years. It's a huge data set.
And how do they actively use it? Just for deciding creditworthiness?
Oh, it's way beyond just credit, though that's obviously critical. That data feeds their fraud models, naturally.
Yeah.
But it also powers these specific AI tools they've built.
Like what?
Well, there's Adapt AI. That's the system that figures out personalized incentives on the fly to help someone complete a purchase, maximize conversion.
Okay.
And then there's Boost AI, which is more for the merchants. It helps them pick the best financing options to offer their customers. Should it be 0% for 6 months or maybe a longer term with interest? Boost AI helps figure that out.
So the data is constantly being analyzed and deployed back into the network to make it work better.
That's the feedback loop, exactly. Better models mean better approvals, better consumer experience, which means merchants see more value, which brings in more consumers, which generates more data. Round and round it goes.
Right, it becomes self-reinforcing.
And that's what lets the CEO ask a different question. Not just how fast can we pedal, because credit limits always govern that, but strategically, okay, what other kinds of valuable messages could we route through this network we've built?
That's an interesting pivot. Now, you mentioned the data volume, those 6 petabytes, but the company says their most important asset isn't the data itself, it's trust. Why elevate trust above all that data?
Because the data only flows if people trust the network. It's the prerequisite. If trust breaks down anywhere, the whole system grinds to a halt. The word credit itself comes from the Latin credere, to trust, to believe.
Oh, right.
So they see trust not just as a fuzzy concept, but as this tangible asset they have to build and maintain across 3 key relationships, 3 contracts.
Okay, what are those 3?
First, the consumers. Simple promise. We'll keep your info safe, we'll debit your account correctly, and this is huge for them. We will never charge you late fees or hidden fees. The price you see up front is the price you pay.
That transparency is core. They call hidden fees a betrayal, right?
An unrepentant betrayal of trust, yeah. So that upfront clarity is non-negotiable for the consumer relationship.
Okay, that's one. What's the second contract?
With their merchant partners. The deal there is merchants give them margin, and they share really valuable data signals back into the network. In return, the platform has to deliver tangible value, more sales, higher average order values, better conversion rates. It has to work for the merchant's bottom line.
A clear value exchange. Makes sense. And the third?
The capital partners. These are the folks providing the funding for the loans. They need to trust the company's reporting is accurate and timely. But crucially, they need to trust the credit outcomes. They need consistent, predictable performance on the loans.
Which circles back to that credit is always job #1 mantra.
Exactly. And the report mentioned that their credit outcomes stayed steady, right within their target ranges. That's essential for maintaining that third pillar of trust. Without it, the funding dries up.
Got it. Strategy, trust. Let's link this back to the growth. That $10.8 billion in GMV, up 42%. Where did it actually come from? What channels are driving it?
Okay, so the breakdown was roughly half from their direct point-of-sale integrations with merchants, the button on the checkout page.
What?
About a third came from their direct-to-consumer efforts, the D2C business. And a big driver there is the Affirm card.
Okay, D2C is a third. What's the rest?
The remainder came through partnerships with digital wallets. And interestingly, they noted their reliance on the top 5 partners actually went down slightly, suggesting the growth is broadening out.
Let's zoom in on that D2C piece, the card specifically. Those numbers sounded pretty wild.
They were. D2C GMV overall grew 53%, hitting $3.2 billion. But within that, the card GMV, it was up 135% year over year.
135%.
Yeah, reaching $1.4 billion just from the card. And they added 500,000 active cardholders just in the last quarter, hitting 2.8 million total.
That kind of jump, 135%, that feels like more than just marketing. That feels like product market fit clicking into high gear.
It really does suggest the card is resonating. And get this, the GMV from using the card in physical stores grew 170%.
Whoa, so it's breaking out of just online use.
Significantly. It looks like it's becoming part of people's everyday offline spending habits, too. They also mentioned they're successfully testing cash flow underwriting for the card now, which could help them approve more people responsibly.
And what about the 0% APR offers? That seems like a huge draw for consumers.
Absolutely huge. Yeah. GMV from those 0% interest products grew 64%. So again, much faster than the overall GMV growth. People clearly love those offers.
But someone has to pay for that 0% interest, right?
Right. And here's the key insight into the merchant relationship.
Oh.
They said approximately 95% of the GMV from those 0% APR monthly installment plans when offered through integrated merchants. It's funded by the merchant.
95%. So the merchants are paying for it.
Overwhelmingly, yes.
Yeah.
Which tells you merchants see these 0% offers not as a cost center, but as a really effective marketing and conversion tool that they're willing to invest in to drive sales.
That's a powerful proof point. Okay, beyond the big retailers, you mentioned partnerships are key for reaching, like, the smaller guys, the long tail.
Definitely. The Amazon U.S. partnership extension is obviously huge. 5 more years gives them a massive anchor. But yes, reaching smaller, more diverse merchants relies heavily on ISVs and PSPs.
ISVs, independent software vendors.
Right. Think of companies that provide software for specific industries. They're using ISVs to get into places like auto repair shops, elective medical practices, even professional services like law firms, places with typically higher ticket sizes, maybe less sophisticated payment setups historically.
Yeah, buying tires or getting dental work isn't like buying shoes online, higher stakes.
Totally. And that ISV channel seems to be working. GMV there grew 68% year over year. They've got about 27,000 active merchants coming through ISVs now. Offering flexible payment terms in those settings is clearly a big draw.
Okay, and the other channel, PSP, is payment service providers.
Yeah, that's more about integrating seamlessly into existing online checkouts everywhere. The wallet partnerships fall under this too. That channel did over $7 billion in GMV in the last year and grew almost 70% this quarter.
$7 billion through wallets and PSP. So the goal there is just be everywhere.
Pretty much. They stated the ambition is to become the default payment option with the top PSPs. They've already done it with one major partner, and they're pushing to be the default with others, even supporting in-store use via PSPs, now with 3 partners.
Okay, so pulling this all together, this idea of accelerating growth and improving profitability, it's not magic. It seems tied directly to the strategy of capturing richer data.
Right, these information-rich messages.
Using their AI tools, like Adapt AI and Boost AI, to turn that data into tangible value and a competitive moat. And underpinning the whole thing with this intense focus on trust transparency with consumers, value for merchants, reliable outcomes for capital partners.
That's a great synthesis.
Yeah.
They're using the network effects, the scale, to actually make parts of the business get smarter and more efficient over time, unlike Le Mans' uphill climb.
It gets easier because you get faster, in a way.
Sort of, yeah. Or maybe smarter is the better word. Which lets them shift focus, like we said, from just speed, which credit always keeps in check, to thinking about, okay, what else can this network do? What other valuable messages can we route?
Which brings us to a final thought for you, our listener. We heard they're pushing into areas like auto repair, legal services, elective medical through these ISV partnerships.
Yeah, high trust, often sensitive areas.
So thinking about their core strategy, routing information-rich messages and safeguarding trust, how might the kind of information needed for, say, a complex medical procedure or a confidential legal matter differ from buying a product online? What new messages, what different kinds of data or context might their system need to handle to keep that trust intact when the stakes are that much higher?
That's a fascinating question as they expand.
Something to ponder as this network potentially weaves itself into more and more aspects of our financial lives.